Find the first four terms in ascending powers of x of the binomial expansion of x out of 3 minus 2 to the power 6. That's the first part. And then given that the terms in x cube or higher powers can be ignored, find an expression of x out of 3 minus 2 to the power 6 multiplied by x plus 1 to the power 16. So what I can do is, for the part A, because it has to be in the ascending powers of x, I'm going to just write it as minus 2 plus x out of 3 to the power 6 and then do the expansion. So that would be minus 2 to the power 6 and plus 6c1 minus 2 to the power 5 times x out of 3 and then plus 6c2 minus 2 to the power 4 and x square out of 9, and then it would be plus 6c3 minus 2 cube x cube out of 27, and so on. So then that's four terms, isn't it? First, second, third, and fourth. So yes, we've got four terms, and I have to simplify them. So that would be minus 64. 32 times 2 is 64, and then not minus, sorry, 64 minus now, sorry, I got confused. That would be 6. So that is 6 times 32 times x out of 3 plus 6 times 5 times 1 times 2, and this is going to be plus 2 to the power 4 is 16 times x square out of 9 plus 6 times 5 times 4 divided by 1 times 2 times 3 times, this will be minus the minus 2 cube is 8 and times x cube divided by 27. So then we can write it as 64 minus 3 times 2 is 6, 64x plus 2 times 3 is 6 and 3 times 3 is 9. So 80 out of 3x square, and then minus 3, 6 goes away. I'm left with 20 times 8 is 160 divided by 27 x cube, and then plus it goes on. So these are the first four terms in the expansion in the ascending powers of x. So that completes part A. Okay, so for the part B, what I can do is I can erase this part, and because we need to use the first four terms to multiply, so I'll use the first four terms. Yes, so this has to be multiplied with this has to be multiplied with x plus 1 to the power 16. So x plus 1 to the power 16, I can write it as we can, instead of starting with x to the power 16, I can write it as 1 plus x to the power 16, because that will give me 1 plus x square. I'm going in ascending powers of x because, mind you, we have to ignore x cube, powers of x from x cube upwards. So we don't really need x to the power 16 here. So 1 plus x 16x plus 16 c2x square plus x cube we don't need. So that is all we need. So instead of x plus 1 to the power 16, I can write 1 plus 16x plus 16c2 is 16 times 15 divided by 1 times 2, that is 8. So that is 8 times 15 is 120. So I can write 120 and 120x square. So I can write 120x square. So then I'm going to multiply these two terms. So I will be writing this entire thing multiplied by 1. So that whole thing will come down first. So it will be 64 minus 64x plus 80 out of 3x square minus 160 out of 27 x cube, and then 64 times 16. So is 1024. So I'll be writing plus 1024x and then minus 1024x square. So that's multiplying with this, and then it would be 80 out of 3 multiplied by 16. So that is 1280. So 80 multiplied by 16. Yeah. So plus 0 out of 3, and then that's x cube, and then I'm going to write 80 and then 60 times 16 times 16. So that would be, and I don't need, I don't really need the x cube, so I didn't really need to write it because x cube can be ignored. So x squared times x is x cubed, so I ignore that, and then x squared times x squared is x to the power 4, so I don't have to write that down. So this is x squared. So I am left with 1024x squared, right? So then I have to multiply it with 120x squared, the terms in the first bracket. So it would be 120 times 64. If I do that, that is 7680. So it would be plus 7680x squared, and then x cube, and rest of the terms can be ignored because this is x squared multiplied with minus 64x would give me an x cube. So that I can happily ignore. So then this is all I need to simplify now. So I will have 64 like I had before. So 64 comes down as it is. It is 64x. And also ignore this So I will have the, yeah. So x with x minus 64, 1024. So I get 1024 minus 64, and that gives me 960x with a plus sign. Then it is the x square terms, so which I'm going to do, it is 80 out of 3, and then I have to subtract 1024 and have to add 7680, and that gives me plus 20048 out of 3 x squared, and that is the approximation if you ignore x cubed and higher terms of x. So that's the answer for part B. So this is our answer.